Good morning. Happy Thursday. All right. So we'll start off discussing these pitches that I shared. I shared them on Tuesday, so I'm hoping you guys have the opportunity to take a look at them. All right. There's three. Each of them are a little distinctively different, and all of them are, both of the first two that you're seeing are amateurish. Okay. And the final one is the all-time great, Steve Jobs. Okay. All-time greatest of all time. Right. First, did you guys get a chance to watch all three? If you did, just type the number of that you got to see, 1, 2, or 3, that you got to watch. Just type that number in the chat, how many you got to actually watch. Frank got through 2 of them. 2, okay. So Yi, Kathy, Hamza, Josh, how many did you guys get through? Adrian, good. 3, wonderful. Okay, so we got through quite a few of these, which is superb. What I want to know is which ones you like the best and why. You guys have the ability to unmute yourselves, right? I do believe. Let's hear from you guys. Which one's your favorite and why? Is there even maybe a phrase that they said that caught you? Were they more intellectual or emotional in pitch? You know, what was it that triggered you? All right, so would love to hear. What are you guys thinking?
So for me, I thought I would like the third one the best because I've seen it before and it is the greatest of all time. But after watching all of them, I do like the first one the best because it does appeal to me emotionally better. And when he started the pitch, I didn't feel like we were jumping into stats right away, or I didn't even really know the reason why he was standing there. But what he said and the way he said it in terms of like his tones were like fluctuating and how he was just more enthusiastic about the reason he was there got me more excited to listen to him.
Good. I like it. And that was which one? The last one?
No, it was the first one.
The first one. Oh, you said you thought the last one was going to be the one you liked the best.
Yeah, but I actually like the first one.
Good. Yet you can even tell by their suits and their facial expressions which one is probably going to be more expressive, right? So say that again.
Just based on like the thumbnail, you would think the first one.
Oh yes, easily, and that's one of the things that we talk about. You know, we had spoken about that 7-Eleven rule one time or a few times, that people judge you the first 7 seconds they meet you, they make 11 judgments about you. And you can just tell the first one, when he stands on stage, you're like, yo, this is going to be good. And that's the feeling I get. I see the striped suit. I see the bow tie. I see the smile. He's got facial hair, but it's nicely trimmed and lined up. I'm like, this guy's about to put in some work right now. I would get excited to hear him talk. The second guy to me, what does the second guy say? Not verbally, but the still image. When you see him, what is your first impression? Give me your 7-Eleven rule on this guy.
Well, I guess I'll go. He seems a lot more serious. His hair is kind of a bit more unkept.
Right.
So at the same time, he doesn't look as professional as the guy up top, which isn't really good because he's not smiling or having much expression as I think he should be.
Okay. I can get on board with that. I can definitely get on board with that. Anyone else? Did what you think you would hear match what you heard? right? So did you think you were going to hear something good or bad based on either one of these presenters, and then you heard something different, right? So if you listen to the first two, did the second gentleman speak more emotionally or intellectually? That's what I'm curious about. What was your thoughts? And some of it's tone, right? Outside of tone, some of it is the actual word choice that people use, right?
And 1 day ago, 2 days
So
activities. Now the tools we used, they remain the same for hundreds of years. It took us centuries to finally combine these tools into one awesome, glorious machine, the combine harvester. Could also be used as a bicycle, but yeah.
all right, so you kind of wouldn't expect him to include humor just because he looks so very rigid, right? So I love both of them. I think the top one's a little bit more animated. The middle one's a little bit drier in terms of presentation, but he is very, he does have a strong personality, which shines through. So I think that is actually very important. Okay. And then you have, of course, the Steve Jobs. And let's go with Hamza, which one was your favorite and why?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, how you doing, Mr. Bowers? Good morning.
Good morning.
The second one was my favorite because I just like the way
Wait, which one?
the second one, so the one with the purple background. Yeah, Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Yeah. That was my favorite because I just like the way he presents himself and like how he flows when he talks between the slides. Like his transitioning I thought was really, really good. The way he dresses eye-catching. So like, it was pretty good. Like, well, not eye-catching, not necessarily eye-catching, but I just thought it was clean, like very simple, clean,
Okay. And
Yeah.
and nobody really chose Steve Jobs. Are we on board with that?
Yeah, I guess.
Anybody? I like Steve. Frank loves Steve.
Frank.
So Frank, do you choose Steve over everyone else?
Yes.
Yes. Tell me why. Tell me why you went with the GOAT, Steve Jobs.
I mean, like, he sort of, like, built up the excitement in the beginning. Like, he first introduced the Mac, and then he introduced the iPod, and it's like, it's getting up there. And finally, he just dropped the bomb and introduced the iPhone. So I really like that part, and, like, it got me really, like, if I didn't know what the iPhone was, like, then I would have been, like, really excited for their new product.
Good. I would definitely agree. To that. He really does a good job of kind of, I guess, suspense, right? But you can tell that the energy between all of them are very different, and they kind of are chronologically by age. The first guy's the youngest, it looks like to me. Then he probably is in his late 30s or 40s, and then Steve Jobs is in his 50s. In this, I believe he's in his mid to late 50s. But great. Is there anything that you can take from those three videos? Is there anything personally that, as you're looking at your scripts or as you're looking at your content and your ideas, that you think there's something you can take from this for you specifically? Anyone? Come on. There's gotta be something.
From all three or just the Steve Jobs one?
Any of them. Any of the videos, is there something they said, how they acted, their mannerisms, their word choices, their tone of voice? Is there anything that you look at this and you go, wow, I need to use that, or wow, that could work? wow, I could sound like that.
Oh, okay. So I think that I could take out of the first one the pauses that he did. It made everything seem like much of a bigger deal than it really is, which really captured the audience. And like me personally, I'm kind of more of a serious speaker, so maybe if I could incorporate like a little bit of animation or like just some of the characteristics that he brought into his pitch.
Okay, I like it. I'm on board. Anyone else? Xiao Yi, Josh, haven't heard from you yet. Zheng, haven't heard from you yet. What are your thoughts? That wasn't rhetorical. Okay, so well, let's go the other way. We discussed which three, which has emotional, intellectual appeal. They both were a bit emotional and clever. Josh, you think he was the most engaging Steve Jobs? Let's watch a little bit of it if we can get the audio.
This is a day I've been looking forward to.
Now, let me tell you something just about Steve Jobs. He is a storyteller. That is what he does. Like, at his heart and soul, he's a storyteller. So that's important for you guys to know. You know, I grew up seeing him, watching him build the business. So I know what to expect when he speaks now. But he was a storyteller. And that's kind of what you're looking for a lot of times when you pitch. You know, to pull people, not to drag them by their throat, but like to hold their hand and take them with you through this presentation, through this journey, through this discussion, through something. All right, and that's what he does. Let's watch like the first 30 seconds, and then we'll cut it out.
For 2.5 years. Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. And Apple has been, well, first of all, one's very fortunate if you get to work on just one of these in your career. Apple's been very fortunate. It's been able to introduce a few of these into the world. In 1984, we introduced the Macintosh. It didn't just change Apple, it changed the whole computer industry.
Now imagine, like, I'll go with Adrian. Imagine leading with something like that, Adrian. You know, talking about, you know, Amazon didn't just change, you know, the shopping experience. It changed the lives of business owners, blah, blah. Like, imagine being able to take some of that story, kind of amp up Amazon, make them sound and feel amazing, and then kind of pull the rug out and say, here's what you're missing. You know, it's less insulting because you're actually telling them how great they did, but telling them, hey, but listen, there's got to be something next. Right? So that, I think, is really a superb idea. Okay? I'm just going to fast forward randomly.
Are you getting it? An internet communicator, an iPod, a phone. These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
So I don't want to share the whole thing because I could watch that like a billion times, right? But the energy he brings is really toxic. You can see, I mean, the applause, you know, it's kind of fake. They're expecting to applause. It's a big show, blah, blah, blah. But this gentleman.
Spencer lets you order, track, and deliver anything you want as soon as possible at any time. This is what retail should be in 2015. The best of both worlds of offline.
Now, he's got a tempo, right? So if you just listen to those last few seconds, listen to how he speaks. It's almost like a bouncing ball on each word.
And online shopping. At the door, you get the option to pay. And just like with Uber, you can rate your Spencer for his services. Spencer lets you order, track, and deliver anything you want as soon as possible at any time. This is what retail should be in 2015. The best of both worlds of offline and online shopping.
Now, obviously, you don't have props in your presentation. That's your slides, right? Those are your props, okay? There's a billion of these presentations out there that you guys can look at and use. I really think that it's something that would help. For you guys, I want to go just into Word and show you what I think would be the greatest way to put this together. Okay, so if we're looking at your format, you have opening, message, closing, and this is all I need from you, right? This is really all I need from you in terms of your delivery for the submission for the script. And this would be enough to get you guys going to really formulate the script. So the opening has to be captivating, obviously. Closing should have a call to action. All right. Think of complimenting the acquirer while letting them know what's missing in their business. The actual acquisition target, right? Then we get to the message, and this is the important part. You know, the opening and the closing is definitely going to be much more personal for you guys on how you want to kind of illustrate that. But the best way to do the message, how many categories do you guys need? Guys, remember what we did? How many? 3. So you need 3 categories. One is, and let's say, what would be one of the categories you guys want to choose? So one of them is, how is it funded? How is the acquisition funded? You could do that first, but that's kind of boring, right? If you talk about how you're funding it first, I don't know about all that. You know, that's kind of like the end of the road after you convince me. So I'm going to talk about investors love it, the consumer experience. So let's say these are my 3. Then I would do data, analysis of data. And I could, if I want, I can do data number 2, analysis of data number 2. Again, you only require to do 1 data point for each. What you could do is data, fact-based statements, number 1. Then I can do data, fact-based number 2. And then check this out, analysis of number 1 and number 2. Consider adding a call to action for investors. Vote to approve this. So the cool thing about being an investor and being a business owner is what happens every time there's an acquisition or a merger. What do you get to do as a business owner? You're a business owner, right? You own a share. You own 0.00000000001% of Apple. What does that mean for you? Hello? You guys can see my screen, right?
You repeat that?
There you go. So why am I saying that the investor piece, if you do the investor side, you might want to have a call to action? Why am I saying that? When you're an investor and you own shares, what do you actually own?
Part of the company.
Hell yeah, you own part of the business. If you own part of the business, do you have rights as a partial owner?
Yeah.
And what is one of those rights?
To make.
I just underlined it. You guys can see my screen.
To
right?
vote.
You have the right to vote. You are a business owner. Even if you own one share, you will get a letter in the mail, or you'll get, a link sent to you where you can vote. And the management team will say that we think all of the investors should vote this way, but you would be allowed to vote. So Uber can't just buy Grubhub, even if they want to. They have to talk to all their investors, and the investors have to approve it. The Grubhub investors and the Uber investors. So you might want to consider having a call to action at the end of your investors part. If all right, you want to add that piece. It's not required, right? I would add it because it probably would take you about 5 seconds to add it. Okay. But a call to action for investors, give them the fact-based statement, give them the data. The analysis is the stock will go up. We think it'll do this. We think that within 6 to 12 months, we'll see this once we start getting the revenue from this product, whatever you want to do. Then you can say, this is why we would also be calling for all investors to approve this merger or acquisition, whichever one you're choosing.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense to you guys? Because if you just leave it there, it's like having butter without popcorn without butter, right? You're telling them why it's good for investors, but you're not telling investors what you need from them. Tell them what you need from them. Okay. So you can have, the requirement is 3 categories with 1 data point each. You can do 1 data point with 1 analysis. And then if you really want to, you can add more. It's not required, but it is extra. And if you have the information, what the hell, why not? The other option is you can do 2 data points that equal up to 1 analysis of the stock's going to go up or whatever, right? Or you can just do it the regular way that we discussed, and you can do 1 data point with 1 analysis. That's the requirement, the bare minimum. If you have more, you can add more. You don't have to. I'm just illustrating it. Last one is, how is the acquisition funded? So cash versus debt versus equity, include the details, and then you would do analysis of why this option. So it's how much, right? Or the cost, and then the analysis of why this option. Option to include other mentions of the balance sheet if you want to. Since you're already showing the balance sheet to show the company has cash or does not and needs to take on debt. Okay? I don't think you have to full-fledged write out word for word what you want to say yet. I think if you lay this out like this with this format, I think you guys will be in a really, really strong place. What do you think? What do you guys think?
I personally think this looks pretty good. I'm probably just gonna edit it myself. I found out something that through my dad that I think I can actually add to the presentation now,
Okay,
which I might add an additional slide for.
that's fine.
It's for either why not like make this product or service yourself instead of acquiring the company for like a third party source. And my dad actually gave me an example with Bloomberg.
Okay.
They tried to make their own type of Zoom
Right.
a few years ago, but it didn't work. So they didn't acquire, but they made a deal with another company, and they made another video service. I forgot the name, but my dad should have it.
So
I'm going to use that as why and I'm not sure how to put it, but somehow put it like if investors are suspicious and say like, why don't Amazon make their own telehealth service?
right. So okay. So I'll get to that right now. So the issue that you're going to face, and one of the things you can, why to make the acquisition over building it yourself. So the question is always this: if Amazon is buying, let's say Apple's buying Peloton, right? Well, why can't Apple just make their own bicycle? Right? That's the question. Why don't they just make their own? Why do they have to buy a company when they can design their own bike? So that could be a category if you want to add. It wasn't in the presentation. You could add it because the thought process here, okay, the thought process here is, well, wait a minute. You know, this already exists. Why don't we just buy the company? Or why are we paying so much for this company when we can just purchase and hire people and build our own? Right? So that's the argument. Which one is cheaper? You know, which is cheaper? Buy a company or build your own product? That's the question here. Why do one or the other? So the reason Apple would purchase Peloton is because Peloton has a following in exercise. Apple has a following in their hardware for phones and stuff like that. They don't have a fitness background, right? There's a reason people put on Netflix instead of Apple TV at first, right? Because Netflix is known for video streaming. Apple is not known for that. In order to get into fitness, Apple needs Peloton to make them cool enough to be a fitness target. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So that would be the reason you would purchase them, is because in all reality, it's almost not possible to do. It's almost not possible to do without acquiring a company. You know, Amazon does have, so Leslie's doing in the other company, Leslie's doing Amazon acquiring Stitch Fix. And actually you're doing Etsy, right, Adrian?
Yeah, I'm doing Etsy.
So let's look at Etsy. So, right, so I know we're doing part of Adrian's work. That's fine. Adrian can elaborate on it for us. But the key there is that Amazon already has a customization platform which no one uses. No one identifies Amazon with customization. They identify Etsy with customization. So you might not even be buying Etsy for the customization platform to link buyers and sellers. You're just buying the name, because the name, if I need a generic cheap product, I go to Amazon. If I need something custom, I search Google or I go to Etsy. You don't go to Amazon for custom. So Amazon can't build that because it's almost like we're conditioned to think Amazon is not customization. We're conditioned to think that. Instead of changing the consumer's thought of us, let's just buy a new business. And then eventually they will think of Amazon as customization with Etsy. They'll think of Apple as fitness because of Peloton. Does it kind of make sense? I don't want to go into an Apple store and see an exercise bike. I wouldn't trust Apple. I just wouldn't. I don't know why. And I love them. But if I walked into Apple and I saw a Peloton bike, I'd be like, yo, why do you guys have a Peloton bike in here? I would hop on it. And then I'd say, wait a minute, you guys are working together? Oh, wait a minute, you guys bought them? So Peloton is kind of nestled inside Apple now. I now identify Peloton as fitness, and I start to identify Apple as fitness. That's the goal of why do it instead of building it yourself. So you guys know your chip companies, right? Frank, and Vincent's not here, right? Zeng's here, Vincent's not here. So Frank, if I'm talking to you, what is your favorite chip company in the world? Now,
Doritos?
no, not.
You said
No,
chip company.
Not a chip company, like in phone hardware.
Oh, hardware.
No, this guy's talking about Doritos at 10 a.m.
I don't know any chip companies.
Okay, anybody? So Tyler said AMD.
Yep.
So this leads you to a question then. Should Apple purchase AMD or make their own chips for their hardware?
Honest. Oh, never mind.
But that would be the question. So if Apple offered to buy AMD for like $40 billion, is it worth it to buy AMD to get the chip capability? Or is it cheaper to spend $20 billion and try to build your own from the ground up, from scratch? That's often the argument made sometimes to investors or to business owners. You know, why can't we just do this ourselves? Yeah, because it's really expensive. And these people have already done it. So just buy them. They've already gone through the trials and tribulations, the difficulties, the stress, the strain, the failures. Okay? So that's kind of what you were talking about, Tyler, which is good. Now, again, you don't need more than 3 categories. If you have 4, you can have 4. You can have 3 with multiple data points, or you can do what we said was, the minimum, which is 3 categories with 1 data point each. That is fully up to you guys. Okay. I'm inclined to let you guys go. We can actually discuss PayPal tomorrow. I sent the link out so maybe people can read it. And then we'll discuss that tomorrow, maybe as the do now or the mini assignment. Are there any questions on this format and this layout?
Mr. Powers?
Yeah.
There's no questions, but there's a comment.
Yes.
Did you hear about Jeff Bezos? He's what's it called? He's going to be like the world's first trillionaire. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, so I saw that's what they're saying. Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just wanted to let you know.
Well, if the stock continues to move, it's possible, and that would be pretty, I guess pretty spectacular when you think about it. In 2000, it was like $1 stock Amazon.
Yeah.
The man was almost broke. And now look at him. So that's the dream.
True. Progress.
Progress. I mean, 20 years later, the guy's living paycheck to paycheck to a trillionaire.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than that.
True.
So, but I will let you guys go. If you have any questions, I will post this. So you guys have this. Do you guys want to take a screenshot? Actually, I'll put this on Google Drive and I'll share it. Okay, so after class, I'll put this on Google Drive and I'll actually share it in the M&A script submission as the sample for you guys to look at. Okay.
Okay.
All
I
right.
also already took some screenshots and I put it in the Discord.
Yeah,
Let's use it early.
You are legendary. Thank you then.
You're welcome.
Either way, I'll put it there just for those people that don't go on our Discord. All right. And you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow. And that's that.
You too, Mr. Powers. Thank
You
you.
too, bye, Power.
Adios.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.